Please try and sit still. Does anyone have a question you would like to ask? I have a few announcements to make, and I've been announcing it for about a week now. On Thursday, we'll have a meditation at the same time here, but I'm going away for 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. And after Thursday, the next meditation will be after the 18th of the month of December. I need to take a vacation, as I explained to people. It's been 2.5 years of doing this, literally almost nonstop. And I need to absorb it. I need to allow it to become really organic to my inner life. And I need to take a break for a little bit. There's a part of me that's also very human. And I need to really work with that part of myself as well. So I'll be gone. There will be classes when I get back. I will be posting these articles on Tantra on my website. I sent Bob 4 of them to post while I'm gone. You can read them, and they give you really pretty good insight into the very nature of this work that I teach. Does anyone have a question I would like to ask?
Hi, Stuart.
Yeah,
I'd just like to ask about when you're in periods of high stress, when the nervous system is just kind of really stressed out, how to help it to calm. It's in a situation of moving house, and I hate moving, and I guess just keep doing the meditation, obviously.
Well, look, Lisa, there's always stress. You can't get up in the morning and live a day without stress. And it's a reminder, I got to do something about myself. I can't allow this tension, the stress that not only is my own stress, but other people's stress that they dump on me. I can't allow that energy to destroy my life. I have to get stronger to where I can deal with it with balance, with openness. It doesn't throw me off balance. In many ways, stress is one's teacher, because it's tells me all the time, Stuart, you got to grow. And I've been doing this meditation a lot longer than anybody here. I have to grow in my life because the stress doesn't go away. The world doesn't change. What changes is our internal life. And because the internal life gets stronger, more open, more balanced, more connected with spirit, we begin to see the world differently. We're not intimidated by life anymore. Ever since, I've said this, Adam and Eve left the Garden of Eden, life has been crazy on the earth. And it's almost meant to be that way because we need to learn. We come here to learn how to transform difficulty and suffering into joy and love. And all we need to do is apply the tools that exist inside us, the mind, the breath, chakras, the need to grow and have a spiritual life, the will to do it. By applying those tools, we learn how to transform pain, the difficulty, the tension, the stress into joy, into love. Because it's all just energy. It just depends upon what our inner state is. If our inner state is open and connected to spirit, we can transform that energy. If it's not, then it takes over. It really takes over. And it puts us through terrible periods of our life. And for God's sake, I have lived through those terrible periods of my life. And they were a reminder to me, Stuart, you have to do something about yourself, because that nonsense is not going to go away. Everybody sees the world according to what their internal life is all about. Most people live with internal chaos. They have minds that don't shut up. They have emotions that don't shut up. They have sexual energy that never leaves them alone. There's total chaos inside 8 billion people that live in the world. So there's going to always be stress in life. Very few people truly work on themselves. So we can't be innocent in the way we think that this is going to go away. It doesn't. We have to get stronger. We have to build a life that can transform the stress, the chaos that manifests because people don't have any balance in themselves. They don't have, their hearts aren't open. They don't give with love. They give to buy somebody else. They don't receive with love. They receive to buy somebody else. It's kind of like an insane asylum, this world. And the only way it's going to go away is that we have to build a strong interconnection in ourselves with God. And if we don't build that, and we can't build that connection if we don't master our internal chaos, we can transform our tension into chi, into balance, into harmony. We can transform our tension into love, into an open heart, into compassion. But it takes work. It doesn't just happen. It takes really deep inner work on oneself. When I was younger, I can't tell you how many gurus and swamis and rabbis and preachers I used to go to get answers, And after I listened to them, I would say, well, what about my crazy head? How do I get it quiet? And it was always, duh. Well, just try and relax, take some uppers or downers or pills and, and it didn't work. And when I met Rudy, he showed me a way to do it, which is what I'm trying to do here. Because once we master the chaos, we see the world differently. We see a different world. I talk about this a lot because it's such a thing that is so grounded inside people, having to deal with chaos, having to deal with stress. And the reason why it takes over is we don't have the strength in ourselves to really master it, to transform it. That has to be built. You don't build a building from the 10th story up. You got to start at the foundation. If you walk into some class of advanced mathematics and you don't know that 1 and 1 makes 2, you're really in trouble. You got to learn from the basics, how to, So in this meditation, we start with the basics, grounding in the core, in the third chakra, right below the navel, which is the very foundation inside a human being, opening the heart, quieting the mind, transforming the human into the spiritual by allowing energy to move through the sexual area to the base of the spine. And then the activation of Kundalini is literally a pathway to God. It's a way of attaining enlightenment. Very simple. But it takes practice, work, training, learning how to do it. That's why I have so many classes. And for God's sake, I'm probably the only one who attends all the classes. But I have all these classes because I know the amount of work it takes and the kind of training it takes to learn how to do what I'm talking about. I mean, people go to monasteries, they spend years of their lives meditating and chanting and praying, and just to learn how to do this, how to get quiet, how to live with God. Thank God that we can do it while everybody's in their home here, we don't have to go live in some remote place in the world. I mean, there was once I told this story. I haven't told it in a long time, but it's a very good story, When I used to run a gallery in Manhattan, there was a young woman who always used to come into the gallery, and she was dressed like a Tibetan nun, shaved her hair, shaved her head, and she had the robes on, and she and I became friends, and we used to talk a lot, And she told me her greatest dream was to find a cave somewhere in the Himalaya mountains where she can go and meditate. And one day after I knew her for at least a year, she comes to my gallery and said, "Stuart, I found a cave." And I said to her, "Annie, are you serious?" She said, "You must have a pretty good real estate agent somewhere in the Himalaya mountains." She said, "No, I found a cave. I'm going next week, and I'm going to spend my time meditating." So she went and she started living in this cave. And there was a village right below where she was living. And the people in the village considered her to be a sacred person. And they started bringing her food and bringing her sustenance and stuff like that. About, maybe 100 yards away from her, maybe less, there was some monk who was living in a cave. And he got jealous of her, that she was taking up the time, some of the time that he was getting, the attention he was getting from the people in the village. And he started doing all kinds of insane things to get her to leave. And finally, some people from the village came to her and said, "Look, you better leave. This man is going to kill you if you continue to stay here." Now, the extraordinary thing about this story is that she went to a cave in the Himalaya mountains, and it sounds so sacred. And there was some monk in a cave right next to hers who couldn't bear the fact that she was his neighbor and was doing everything to get her to leave. We're all sitting in our houses here, learning about what to do to develop an inner life that will get us strong enough to be able to connect with God. So it's really a blessing, It's really a blessing. And all my job in life is, as I keep saying it, is to teach people how to do this. And to continue to do it myself, because this is my service to God and my path to enlightenment. I'll never forget that young girl. About a year and a half later, whatever it was, this young woman walks in my store in jeans with long hair, dressed to the nines, and she said, "Stuart, how are you?" And I said, "I don't know who you are." And she said, "Stuart, it's Annie. Remember, I went, oh, Annie, it was incredible." And then she's telling me she registered at the university, she's going to school, she's got an apartment in Manhattan, she's got a job. I mean, God taught her. She went to a cave and almost got killed. She came back to civilization and she was living, her life. It's extraordinary the way we're taught in life, The thing is, we have to listen and learn. Does anyone else have a question they would like to rest. She had a boyfriend. I mean, it was incredible. It was really wonderful what happened, you know. And that doesn't mean the stress stopped. You know, there's always going to be stress. You want stress? Have a relationship. You're guaranteed to have stress. And the stress isn't negative. It's just saying you want a relationship, grow up. Don't go into the relationship like a child. Grow up. Love the other person unconditionally. You know, give and receive in the relationship unconditionally. Be strong enough to let somebody else live around you. Everything is our teacher. We have to listen. And if the relationship doesn't work, then it's also a teacher to leave it. So what do I need to spend my life trying to make something work that's not working? You know, leave it. And I once told somebody, you know, God created marriage, God created divorce. I mean, really, you know. Does anyone else have a question they would like to? But before you get divorced, make an effort to grow and learn from the other person, learn from the job, learn from the work that you have to do, learn from the stress that you're up against in your life, how to get stronger, how to build an inner life that is strong enough to deal with that situation. And then after doing everything possible, you know, you can step away, but you really have learned something that you can bring to the next situation. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Well, I'd just like to say something. Maybe I shouldn't, but you know, there are people, many of you that donate to this, you know, and I'm deeply grateful for you thinking about me and understanding that, you know, that these classes have to continue. I need to pay rent and do all kinds of stuff like that. And I just am very grateful for that. I just want you to know that. It touches my heart, whatever people can afford. Some people send $5, some people send a lot more, you know? And I'm just grateful for that. And I just want you to all know that I don't take that for granted. And I don't assume anything. And I'm just very grateful to people for really caring that they want this work to continue and these classes to continue. So God bless you and thank you. There'll be a class, you know, on Thursday. I'm looking forward to seeing you. And then the next class after that, I'll be back on the 18th of December. And we'll have class after that. I'm not going away anywhere. I'm just going away to get a rest. To just live a little differently. So bless you. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all on Thursday. Thank you. Bless
Thank you too. God bless you.
you.